Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Jake.
Hello, yeah.
How is it going?
I'm good. I'm over here in the Isle of Man visiting family.
Oh, nice.
The home of the TT, hence motorcycles on the wall and things like that.
What is the weather like by you?
But I love it over here, but
Yeah.
it does mean I'm on one screen, which is like completely different from me. I'm usually got multiple monitors, and I'm watching you, and I'm watching the comments, and I've got another one where I can bring up things, bring up information.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to have to deal with one screen tonight. How's the weather in the Isle of Man at the moment?
It's as ever. You get pretty much like every season in a day. It's like parts of Scotland as well. It's but it's all parts of it. Yeah. Do love it.
That's good.
But we've got some orders of business, haven't we? It's our birthday.
It's our birthday. Happy birthday, Pour and Sip. It has been 5 years. It'd be great to know if for anyone tuning in tonight, is there anyone tuning in tonight who has been here with us since the start?
Oh, I think there might be, or at least since very early on.
It's very early on. There must be.
We've got some people talking about it in the comments already. So we'll say some hellos. Good evening, Steve Coleman Williams. Good evening, Malcolm Tucker, saying happy birthday. Evening Pexman, who's happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Pour and Sip. Yep, absolutely. Malcolm Tucker saying he managed to not double book himself this month, so he's joining the celebrations. Excellent.
Fantastic.
And Steve being like, oh yeah, so it is, and didn't mention it on the cards. Yeah, sorry about that. Probably should have mentioned that on the cards. But the unexplained glass, if you're wondering, that's why. Happy birthday.
Oh, okay. Oh, great. I've got the comments now, by the way.
Love it. Excellent. Yeah.
I have, but I've also just realized I'm sorry, I thought I was watching our screen, but I'm not. I'm actually watching YouTube in a delay. That was really weird. Okay, right. I'm just going to have these comments here as well. Right, guys, we're all good. Technology is great. And everybody is saying happy birthday, Pour and Sip. And also,
watching from Mallorca tonight.
Oh, wow. That's probably better weather over there than it is here. Yeah. Malcolm Tucker doesn't remember Jake's mustache on Tuesday's draw.
So there you go. Yeah, it's grew that one this morning.
Yeah.
It's been coming along. I don't really know what's going on there, to be honest. It's
just leaving it and seeing what happens.
It's become a bit of a joke, so I've got to leave it for a bit now.
It's early November, and by the time you get to November, you're going to be full kind of Hasselhoff or kind of what's the guy from Friends? Monica's boyfriend who had the massive
Magnum PI.
Yeah, what's his real name? Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck, that's the one.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, well, welcome everybody. For those of you who haven't been here before and are new to Pour and Sip and haven't been with us for the last 5 years, welcome. We're a very open, welcoming community. Everyone in the comments willing to get involved, chat away. Let us know what you think of these whiskies. Ask our guests questions. If you've got anything, please just ask us. We can't wait to hear from you guys. These evenings are way better when you guys get involved. So let's just get involved with all the comments and the questions and the queries and the wonders and the tasting notes, because we've got some super good whiskies to try tonight, which I'm excited about. Jake, what is the order of proceedings tonight?
Yes. So we did a bit of a discussion about this. We're going to kick off with Compass Box, which is, that's super exciting. We haven't had a Compass Box. I was having a look since we had a Pour and Sip exclusive one, which was pretty cool, but that was 2022.
And we had Headless pretty early on, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And we had Juveniles in 2021. So we have had some Compass Box, but not for basically like 3 years, or over 3 years. So, I think
David
excited about that.
Yeah. David Walcott's been here from the beginning, according to
nice.
So well done to you. Long service award.
And then we're going to do the Ardnahoe. So we're going to go to Islay, do the peat second.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go for the 64% boutique rye. That is it's just stonking rye. We're going to go with that third. Partly because it's 64%, and partly because Dave said he can talk about rye forever. So you better put me on last.
Okay. We might just have to cut him off at some point when he's still talking and just
fade him out.
Background there, just carrying on. He won't even know. Just still talking. Yeah. Actually, Steve Colin Williams is very glad the Dad's Hat is last. Not surprised though. Listen, there was a lot of talk in Pour and Sip headquarters about that and what was going to be last tonight. Would it be the Ardnahoe? Would it be the Dad's Hat? So we have made the final decision. And actually, Davis himself here said, just pull the plug. Should he be talking for too long? So that's fine. I've got the power. I've just got the end stream button right there, so I can do that anytime, really. Right. So, and then we've got two other drams to try, haven't we, Jake? Very quickly.
Yeah, you and I will chat through the other two in the box, which I think each bring something different, and yes, it's got range, this box, as ever.
Malcolm Tucker saying Dave Worthington on the screen more than Richard Osman. So there you go.
Yeah, Richard Osman or Richard Osman written.
What's this new thing on the YouTube comments which has like an XP with crowns? Can you see this? Can anyone explain?
Oh yeah, so like now there's all things like like top fans.
Yeah, okay.
Like
I've not seen this. XP makes it sound like it's like Pokemon or something. So it's like you're collecting kind of XP. What is it? This is like Steve Coleman Williams here is number 1 with a crown. I assume top contributor. Okay.
It's fun.
Cool. That's great. I love it. Gamifying YouTube comments and Pour and Sip. Yeah, I'm into it. Number 1 chatter, apparently. Yeah. Okay, guys, if you want to beat Steve Coleman Williams and get that number 1 spot, you need to contribute more.
You do some serious commenting. Yeah, share lots of thoughts. Get some really good questions in.
Maybe we have a prize at the end of the year for the top contributor. That's a great idea. Don't sell that right now. That's not a thing. I'm just saying I'll put it to the powers that be, but it could be a thing. So just get chatting now, just in case that is a thing. Right, Real Boinger just coming out of cold, so can't smell a thing. That's okay.
We'll win that.
I'm sure that's how the PT whiskey might get something out of you. It resets every stream accordingly. This is everyone's commenting now. So that's useless. Okay, YouTube needs to sort that out for subscription packages. Right. Anyway, you're not here to hear me and Jake yap on about nonsense. We are here to talk about whiskey. That is
far more interesting. Yeah,
it's far more interesting. Unless anyone is into my kind of wanderings on a kind of podcast level. If they are, just let me know. I will set that up. But I'm going to invite our first guest, Sam, onto the screen. We're going to talk all things Compass Box.
Hello.
Hello, Sam. How's it going?
Yeah, really well, thank you. How are you?
I am really well as well. And nice to meet you finally. We've had you on the screen. New Pour and Sip contributor. So welcome. For anyone who doesn't know about you and your kind of role in the whiskey industry and how you got there, do you want to just talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Sam Travers. I'm a whiskey maker at Compass Box. I've joined Compass Box at the start of this year on the 2nd of January. I'm reasonably new to the company, but have a long admiration for Compass Box and all of their history. I've been following them for many years. I have 12 years experience in whiskey and spirits, generally drinks, starting off actually in London, where I'm based now. That was with the London Distillery Company, the first London Distillery Company.
Yeah.
Because there was a second London Distillery Company and now a third one. Third time's a charm. And I think they're probably going to do something really cool with some of that old whiskey that we made back then. But yeah, I started there and then moved to Scotland, studied brewing and distilling at Heriot Watt, and have been in gin and then unique botanical spirits with Sweet Dram. So that was really fun. And then I was with Douglas Lane for a while as well, as European brand ambassador. And then once they acquired Strathern, I put a little bit of distilling expertise to use.
Nice.
During lockdown. So out in the middle of the Highlands, making whiskey kind of solo, which was pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was really cool. and then between then and Compass Box, I was with Port of Leith Distillery for about 4 years. Yeah.
Cool. So you really tried your hands at lots of different things and worked in lots of different places over the last 12 years.
Yeah. But 10. Yeah. It's been wild, and worked for really interesting small, really reactive companies, doing really interesting things. It
seems like you've worked for lots of companies that probably, like you said, like smaller companies that give you a bit more creative freedom, which kind of brings us onto like Compass Box in general, because that's kind of a good kind of place to kind of find yourself in, following that route. And it's like Compass Box has kind of always been, I don't know, slightly rebellious as well in the kind of in the Scotch industry. And like, how would you describe the philosophy of Compass Box like today?
Yeah, so Compass Box is sort of known now as a sort of, like a pretty rebellious company who aren't afraid to sort of challenge the status quo within whiskey, which John Glazer, when you started the company back in 2000, I think found the whole industry to be fairly stuffy, and really wanted to expand the category of blends and what can really be achieved from blending, rather than just making a profile which is almost so amorphous that you could switch anything out at any time, and it wouldn't you wouldn't necessarily notice what was going in and what was not, and you really wanted to flip the idea of blends on the head to be like, well, actually, if you bring all of these amazing elements together from different places, and have like this really broad color palette, that you can create some really interesting things. And he did that through the liquid, and and also just lots and lots of innovation, whether it's unique cask designs, and getting into trouble through constructing casks that aren't effectively legal. But also through transparency and really championing transparency and labeling conventions as well.
What about transparency is so important to Compass Box? Because it's obviously been something that's been really important part of Compass Box, and what people kind of expect now from a lot of other blended whiskies. Like, why is it so important?
Yeah, it's a good question, because like it's since we've actually been championing this, like you said, you see a lot of new blenders and even like new independent bottlers. It's kind of set a precedent in a way, like that you can't really go without the transparency piece. But the reason why it's really important to us is because I think it really matters to us that the consumer is more aware. It gives them another level of engagement, and another reason to fall in love with what they're drinking. If it's there's an element that goes of smoke and mirrors. When you're like, if they don't know, then maybe there's this sort of this mystique around things. But actually, we haven't really found that. I actually found that there's been and people really love knowing more about what they're drinking. And like if it was food, you probably wouldn't be up for a sort of a smoke and mirrors approach. So
it's this. I don't care what meat is in this. I can't.
Yeah. Various.
Well, it's kind of important. But do you think it's like led like a kind of as like an outlier for the industry? Do you think it's like led other companies and distilleries to be more transparent, or is it something that's still kind of gaining traction, and eventually it will all just think it's just going to be a small amount of blenders that release and show and this transparent?
Yeah, well, I think it's hopefully it's more and more. It's like even like awesome companies like Woven and guys like that are really sharing those kind of values and being really detailed, and that's really good to see. I'd love to see it change throughout larger the higher echelons of Scotch whiskey in a way, but at the same time, it's still a point of difference. So,
I think that's exactly it. It's like it kind of, particularly at the start, is a very unique thing to Compass Box as well. And it's kind of the standard here of like, we believe in this, and it's kind of like unique selling point as well. But I do
Yeah.
think the whiskey drinker, it's super important. I like seeing what's gone into the whiskey, like you said.
Yeah. Well, it also holds us accountable to you, right? So I mean, like, as in, like, we're showing you that we're not trying to pull the wool over your eyes, by just bombarding some reasonably awesome age stock with just tons and tons of young stuff and just adding caramel coloring. We're never going to do anything like that. The transparency just gives it's kind of like wearing all the information on our sleeves so you can see. So
absolutely. What was the first Compass Box whiskey? Was it Hedonism?
It was Hedonism, yeah. That was in 2000. So
that was quite a rebellious whiskey, really.
Well, like, no one had done a blended grain.
Exactly.
So it was a kind of a new category that had to be sort of adjusted for, which is really cool, and it had some really, really awesome old grains in that, like John was just seeing all of these amazing grain whiskies that weren't seeing the light of day, and either just being sort of pushed to the side of blends, or blended in with younger grain, and really diluting that sort of concentrated flavor, that really glossy quality you get from really great aged grain whiskey. And he just thought that was a terrible shame, so he created Hedonism, and innovated in that category, but also it was innovation for the not just for the sake of it, but for the sake of deliciousness. We are an innovative company. We do champion innovation, but innovation is a means to an end, not an end in itself. The end is deliciousness for us. So.
And when you're making these whiskies, what is kind of like the first point? Do you start with these flavor profiles in general, like we'll talk about the one tonight, and then kind of select cask because of that, or do you start with the cask first and then go, what can we make from the stuff that we've got?
Right. Yeah. I mean, the direction works both ways for us. Like as in we either really want to capture this particular feeling. Like we've got in our archive we've got an expression called Velicor, which is inspired by the smell of old bookshops. And and so you look through your cask inventory and you're like, well, what really delivers this quality, and you it's the concept sort of like bringing forward those casks. Sometimes it's you come across amazing parcels of this and you're like, wow, this is mango. I want to do something around mango, and the concept comes later. So.
Yeah, that's cool. It must be pretty fun to work in that kind of environment, right? With this kind of freedom of like selecting these things and like thinking of these ideas, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so like I said, obviously I've worked in distilleries and all over the place, and but working for Compass Box in London, so the company's based in Richmond, but obviously all our casks are up in Scotland, lying in warehouses up there. But working for Compass Box in Richmond is almost working a little bit more like a creative agency than it is it's more like a creative agency than it's like a distillery. I mean, that's the ops team probably wouldn't share that sentiment because they're based up where all the casks are.
No, must be super exciting. So talk to us about what we're trying tonight. So what the idea is behind this one.
Yeah, right. So Nectarosity. So I do have a bottle of it here. It feels weird.
Before saying actually what it probably brings me on to this, can you just show us the bottle again? So one thing that really I think makes Compass Box super unique but super cool are the labels. It's worth mentioning for people who haven't seen Compass Box whiskies before how awesome the labels are. Who is it that designs the labels and has done?
So we've got a really, really long-standing sort of symbiotic relationship with Stranger and Stranger, who are really renowned in the spirits and just drinks labeling world. But we've kind of grown at a really similar rate to them, and we've always had this amazing relationship. And actually, in the creative process, we give them a brief and we take our hands off, and what they come up with, we pretty much just adopt. We don't try go back, modify. It's that kind of relationship. It's like giving real creative agency, but that also means it's really on us to deliver really detailed briefs.
Yeah,
the labels are always.
yeah, well, the labels are always.
It wouldn't matter if the whiskies weren't also sick, right? But like the labels are wicked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
artwork.
Yeah, and so Nectarosity on here. I'm sure everybody watching will maybe deduce from this that this has something to do with patisserie themes. So somewhere between tropical and patisserie, and we have an approach in our with our whiskey making, which is and labeling, which is, do we want to you kind of want to drink that label,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that one there in particular, actually,
I
look like that, I would absolutely.
Well, shall we see what people are making of it? Because people have dived in. So let's
absolutely
run through quickly some tasting notes, and then we can hear a bit more from you about the whiskey. So if we scroll back. But Peter Gilmore was saying, because obviously we've got tasting notes on our cards in the pack as well.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I had to look up what frangipane was because I'd never heard of it. So sorry, Peter, but also a good thing to know about, I reckon.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing to know about. Get some frangipane in your life. Yeah.
Is it like a tart?
So
it's like
have a look.
tart.
We've got. So Malcolm Tucker's saying cake batter mixture with almond flour. Oh, he's talking about frangipane actually. We've got
full recipe there.
Gary Morgan just pointing out that the nose, palate, and finish notes are really spot on. It's a lovely blend, and it really is. Steve's got Pano raisin, subtle saltiness, which yes, I get as well. Dave Walcott's got glazed pineapple. Malcolm Tucker's getting apples and pears, getting into almonds. There's some honey sweetness and citrus. Peter Gilmore's got apricot, vanilla, pineapple coming through. Steve on the pineapple as well. Yes, people were talking about tropical fruits, cinnamon. Dave Walcott's getting the brine note, some more fresh apple. Jeff's getting some pink white coconut bar. Yeah, nice. Where are we at? Some more fruity finish lingering, and maybe some tobacco in there somewhere. Steve Commonwealth's getting some lemon curd, all sorts of good stuff. Cinder toffee, medjool dates, peaches and cream. Real Boinger's getting. Lots going on, and I think
it's really
some of that really what you're going for as well.
This is really good. What I like about it is you said it's got that real lovely tropical honeyed sweetness. There is also like this underlying heavy treacle kind of note, as well, like that kind of sherry kind of note. There's like a little bit more meaty in there, which makes it slightly more complex for me. It's just this is really, really good. Do you want to talk to us about the makeup of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So
close that. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So
sorry, we don't disclose that.
Yeah, actually, we just smoke and mirrors, boys. We work quite closely with some distilleries. Notably, anybody who knows a lot of Compass Box will know that we've got a great champion of good Kleinlich, but we also use Linkwood a fair bit as well. And these two really work in tandem in this dram. So you've got Kleinlich that has been in first fill bourbon, and the Linkwood has been in refill sherry, but also first fill Palo Cortado sherry. And that Linkwood in Palo Cortado is really what's giving that lovely apricot, peach, that stone fruit on the nose and palate, that treacliness as well. We've got some lovely older Linkwood, which has been in the refill puncheon as well, and that's lots of spice and honey and lovely bits like that. But what's interesting about the Kleinlich, so we've got Kleinlich in ex bourbon, which is around 11 years old, but we also have Clynelish and second fill custom American oak. And this is a program that we developed because we were getting a lot of like rinsed bourbon casks, and we didn't realize that the bourbon distilleries had started rinsing their casks, and these were producing amazing fresh orchard fruit notes, and we actually loved it so much that we created a whole new expression called Orchard House. But we were actually originally trying to create something that was a lot more like tropical fruit, etc. And so in order to not fall foul of getting the rinsed bourbons again, what we did is we put the Girvan grain, which makes up some of the grain proportion. The grain proportion being about 35% in this blend. So it's a low grain proportion, but it's there just to give all of that sort of toffee, all of that that caramel sweetness, and that sort of that really, really sugary coconut quality. But yeah, the Girvan, we essentially popped that into virgin oak casks and virgin American oak casks for a year, then took that out and put that into refill, and then put the Clynelish new make into the ex-Girvan, like second fill American oak, essentially. And that just gave it like all of this amazing like pastry in this Clynelish, this like lovely cinnamon sugar quality. It was just amazing. But which works so well with Clynelish's like really, really fruity, waxy profile. So yeah,
it's fantastic. Yes. Dave's just saying that he's getting the liquid, really like luscious liquid shining through. I was certainly getting the Clynelish sort of off the bat. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to share something because well, we tried to fit as much of the information about all the cask makeup on the cards, and we actually ran out of space. There's a further breakdown of all the grain components. Yeah. I just wanted to quickly share your info sheet on here, if I can. You have to move it into the stream, Andy, just to show it quickly. Because this is super cool, right? Like, so these fact sheets for their whiskies, and I mean, you can just find this on the Compass Box website, and that will give you this full breakdown that Sam's talking about here, and some of the notes from each of these casks. So yeah, I would recommend going and.
One more thing on that is that we try and do that with all our whiskies, and we're not allowed to label. We've actually been got a lot of trouble for labeling, the ages of our components on our blends. Not trying to pass off, for older whiskey as the age statement or anything, but just trying to give like an informative breakdown of what goes on there. But we got told we weren't allowed to do that. But if you do go on those big sort of graphs, you can count the rings and just kind of work out the age. So.
There you go. It's like a trick.
Yeah, exactly, like a trick.
There's a few more notes coming in, but also a couple of questions. So Steve Coleman said, did you originally think the rinsing was going to be a problem before realizing it was just different?
To be honest, we didn't intend on getting the rinse casks. We weren't sort of given a choice. So when they were coming back after like 3 years, we were like assessing them. We were like, this is great. This is absolutely amazing, but this is orchard fruit and not tropical fruit. So it was just kind of unintentional. But now we do it intentionally.
Yeah, so, I've tried the orchard. Wonderful whiskey. This is great as well. They work. They probably work quite nicely together as a pairing, and trying them side by side. Barry Morgan saying, always enjoyed Compass Box offerings. Was lucky to try the Metropolis. I've not tried that one. What one was that?
Metropolis was part of our Extinct Blends Quartet. So there were 4 whiskies that we modeled off of blends that are now extinct, essentially. And Metropolis was it was a kind of it wasn't so much modeled on, but it's homage to Old Bailey and Nicole Jarvie. And it's it's got some lovely old Tianinic, I think it's Tianinic, some 1999 Abelauer in refill. Rechar, and that was just amazing. Just really subtly peated as well. It's just like it's like the most textural whiskey. It's a great whiskey.
Some of the blends were phenomenal. Yeah, a bit more expensive than what we're sipping here, but a chance to taste any of them.
And if you do like this, you can get it at our Pour and Sip members discount in the store. Is that right, Jake?
The Nectarosity, of course. Yeah. Everything we're tasting tonight. Yeah.
I've got to be honest. This might be going in my basket. I think it may have even headed into Dave Worthington's basket as well.
Yeah.
I've just popped the Compass Box in my basket. Oops. You slipped over the button. Outrageous. But Barry Morgan's question was, what is next? Is there anything big coming?
Yes. So we've got a release called Brûlée Royale, which is actually nice to talk about Nectarosity because it's kind of an extension of when we do our limited editions. We often extend our core range. You know, we to like what's the next thought in patisserie and desserts, and we created Brûlée Royale, which is coming out, I think, this week. I'm actually flying to the US next week to film with a world famous pastry chef called Dominic Ansel. He's the guy who created the cronut and all of that. And we're doing something. We're doing a partnership with him on that, which is really, really cool. But it's all about like Compass Box's take on creme brulee. And what if Compass Box was going to create a creme brulee? And you can imagine that it wouldn't be a conventional creme brulee.
Yeah. So is this going to be a bit more on the grain side of things? This one?
No, it's a blended malt. It's a blended malt featuring some nice old Ben Rinners. The Kleinlich that's in Nectarosity, the custom American oak, features much more heavily and kind of front and center. With this 18-year-old Ben Rinners, some nice Ardbeg from 2003, and some 24-year-old Speyburn in refill hogsheads as well, which is just
Look at this. I think we'll have to get that one before sip as well. And so that does sound absolutely amazing. Steve Colin Williams is saying, I have an article on the Cronut open on another tab right now. That is quite coincidence.
Another thing, but people finding out about.
I wonder what's going on about the Cronut, and then we're talking about Cronuts. But anyway,
there you go.
It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. I've really, really enjoyed that whiskey. I think it may be going in my basket, that one.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, great to be here.
And hopefully we'll see you at the end. But thank you very much.
Yeah, see.
Cheers.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers, Sam.
Right, that was a good start to the evening, I have to say. Right,
cracking start. Yeah.
I
really, really like this. You can really like the layers of all the things he was describing. You're getting it in the glass, and then to sort of have the breakdown of that's coming from here, that's coming from here, and be able to piece it all together is super cool and satisfying.
Yep, love it. That was a really good start. Really into that. Okay, so next, for something completely different, really, we are going to invite Paul on the screen to talk to us about Ardnahoe. How's it going?
I'm very well, guys. All the better for trying that last dram. It was lovely. It's got two of my favourite Diageo distilleries in it, Linkwood and Kleinlich. So great. That first time I've tried it, really enjoyed it.
It just makes such a good, but also that 14-year-old is just one of my favourite whiskies. It's just one of the best whiskies out there. It's just so good, and I don't know if it's still a reasonable price. It used to be a really reasonable price. I don't know if it still is. But Paul, whereabouts are we talking to you from today?
I'm in Glasgow, so similar to Isle of Man. It's been rain off, rain on today, so not too dissimilar. Jake called it quite well, similar to Scotland.
And you're new as well, so we've got two new guests here for Pour and Sip tonight. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the industry and found yourself at your current role with Ardnahoe or Hunterland?
Yeah, I get into the industry in a really kind of unusual way. I was watching your last YouTube video, actually, and I can't claim to be a professional ballerina and transfer into whiskey, but I only started working in whiskey 4 years ago. I've been drinking mostly single malts for about 13 and a bit years, so spent a lot of time going around distilleries and tastings and visiting festivals and doing a lot of traveling, get to meet a lot of people in the industry. But I actually worked in the police in Scotland here for most of my adult life so far. And when I retired, I had got to know the family that own Hunter Lane and now Ardnahoe about 17 or 18 years ago through a kind of couple of charity things. And then just as their business developed in Ardnahoe came online, they asked me to come in and said, would I like to be an ambassador for them? And it was I've made quite a lot of decisions in my life. That was probably one of the easiest ones, to be perfectly honest. So, and I keep having a joke with the owners because I've been buying their products since about 2002. So I'm pretty confident I've paid more money into their bank account than I've paid into mine. No, and I've got no complaint about that whatsoever.
They're paying you to pay them.
Yeah, exactly. My wife used to work in Marks and Spencer's, and that's how it worked as well. And I think my wife spent more money in Marks and Spencer's than Marks and Spencer's paid her. So it came a bit full circle. So no, it's I feel as if I've got a great job because I'm working for a company that I know the people, have known the people for a long time. I've been buying their whiskey for a long period of time, and they were kind enough to invite me over to Islay several times just as the Ardnahoe project was developing. So I claim nothing for what's in the glass tonight, but I was there when it was happening. So I was a good observer and got to learn a lot about the distillery, and it's now a pleasure to stand at festivals and you've got a Hunter Lane range from a third generation family that have been stocking up whiskies for a long time, and you've also got them owning and now releasing whiskey from a relatively new distillery. So it's the best of both worlds, actually, if you're an ambassador.
So talk to us a bit. So Hunter Lane has quite a long history as an independent bottler, but what led this to the Ardnahoe thing? What happened there?
Yeah, so Sam mentioned Douglas Lane earlier on. So Douglas Lane actually started the company in 1948 when it was all blending and brokering of casks. He had two sons, Stuart and Fred. When Douglas passed away, Stuart and Fred kept the company going under the name Douglas Lane, and it was pretty much moving then into independent bottling through the 80s and the 90s into the early part of this century especially. And then both the brothers wanted to go in slightly different directions. So Stuart created Hunter Lane, Fred kept the name Douglas Lane, and Stuart actually celebrates 60 years in the business next year. And he always had this appetite, even when him and Fred were working together, they had an appetite to have their own distillery. If truth be known, they tried and failed. I suppose it's a bit like buying a house. When you get outbid for 3 or 4 houses, what do you end up doing? You buy a plot of land and build your own if you've got the resources to do it. And that's exactly what happened with Ardnahoe. Stuart, when he started in the industry in 1966, did a year's traineeship at Bruichladdich on Islay. So he had that soft spot for Islay. Yeah, that kind of idea was probably about 2015, 16. So sort of 8-9 years further on, we've now got Ardnahoe in our glass, and it's really
kind of interesting as well, because like, how does like the history as like this independent bottler and the heritage of that kind of affect how you approach making your own whiskey and creating and presenting these Ardnahoe whiskies?
Yes, I mean, that's a really good question because, as independent bottlers, we've got a couple of brands. We've got some cask strength brands. We've got old malt cask at 50%. We've got a 46% single cask range. But when the project for Ardnahoe started, we brought in Jim McEwen, ex-Bruichladdich and Bowmore. And Jim's experience, most people will know about it. Jim's told everybody about it over the years. The type of guy he is. He's absolute pleasure to spend company in. But this was Jim's first project of actually thinking about how a distillery's flavour would be like before it was even built. And I had the pleasure of spending a couple of hours with him when the distillery was just finishing off to be a concrete base. So we had dug all the rock out the side of the site, got the concrete base in, and Jim invited me down for a coffee to one of the coffee shops in Islay and spent 2 hours with him. So if you're a whiskey fan and you meet Jim McEwen, you just go into listening mode, you just stop talking and you just soak up all his information. But Jim was very clear at that point. Bearing in mind the distillery was only a concrete base, here's what the Ardnahoe is going to taste like when it eventually gets in the bottle. And hopefully the whiskey you're going to have tonight in your glass will taste exactly how Jim described it to me, and I can go through that just now. But if you want to do it later on,
well, yeah, we'll talk about what that is and what he intended the whiskey to taste like, and we were going to talk about things like worm tubs and stuff like that, and how all of these processes have led you to this whiskey that you have. Yeah,
so it all started with flavour, and actually the architecture and design of the distillery was with flavour in mind. So the thought was, and this is a really easy thing to say, but when you think about it, it's quite hard to achieve. The first thought was we want to make a typical peated single malt from Islay, and other people have done that in the past, and many others will do it in the future as well, I think. But here's the killer. Let's do one that's different from all the other 8. Now that sounds dead sensible. Of course you would do that. Why would you copy something else? But when you think about it, it would be actually far easier to copy one of the other 8 than it would be to create something almost unique and different from the other 8. I suppose it's a bit like, if we mentioned food earlier on, going to a restaurant, having your own distinct, either meal or recipe or menu. So the idea there was, let's make something that's typically recognisable at Islay, but what's different. So when you get this on the nose, when you get it in the nose, you should recognise this as, you should get peat and smoke on the nose. And every time I get it, it takes me to Islay. I recognise it as that single peated smoky malt from Islay. But what we then wanted to do was make sure it became a fruit-forward spirit. So this is about 45 phenol parts per million. So the kind of same ppm as most other Islay distilleries like Ardbeg and Cailleach and Laphroaig. But actually, because it's so fruit-forward in the spirit, the peat and the smoke in the palate comes at the very end. So it actually feels a lot softer. So the sequencing of this is smoke in the nose, fruit at the front of the palate, and then really soft smoke and peat at the back of the palate, just as it gets down, for us guys in the audience, down to your Adam's apple. And even though it's 45 parts per million, it feels so soft. It's like one of the drams, I think, that if you really like your Islay whiskies and your peated whiskies, you'll get enjoyment in this. But actually, if you're new to peated whiskies, or just getting into that kind of dark world, if you want to call it, I think this is a really, really good introduction as well.
Like, it's for me, like instantly off the nose. It's not got that whole mad iodine kind of Laphroaig Ardbeg note that's going on. It's not overpowering. It's quite delicate. It's quite soft, but it's clearly peaty as well. I think there's like this mad, like kind of this like orange note underneath it like balances out the peat, but it's really well balanced on the nose, and it's really, really good.
It is interesting, isn't it, for being 40 ppm? I think when we had, in January we had Ryan on talking the Infinite Lock, and people were saying then that it was quite approachable, and we had some people who weren't necessarily peat fans who were like, I could do this. This is all right. And then
so Ryan brought the Infinite Lock to you earlier in the year. So this is their first core release. It's got no age statement on it, but everything in this bottle is 5 years old, bottled at 50%. And this was 85% bourbon cask, 15 sherry. The one we've got tonight is another core range product. Again, no age statement, but this again is all 5-year-old spirit. 50% ABV, and the cask recipe here is different. This is 55% sherry and 45% bourbon. And I love giving people the two of these, because whenever I do a tasting and you have the two, the audience is evenly split, almost exactly down the middle about what their preferences is, which is great, because from a commercial point of view, you don't want everyone liking one thing and not liking the other. But that's the whole reason of bringing out these two different ones, because whiskey fans have got different palates. So doing one that's predominantly bourbon and one that's predominantly sherry seems to have been a good move for us when we look at how it's received and
absolutely. That's what I was sort of going to say myself is that the I was going to ask about the exact breakdown, but you've got the sherried element here as well. It's just that extra fruitiness and bouncing the peat, and it's
and for me, Jake, the difference between the two, it's that fruit forward part. The Infinite Lock, the fruit forward tends to be the kind of more softer tropical orchard fruits, whereas this one that we've got tonight, the Bholsa, tends to be that more fruitiness that you associate with a sherried whiskey. Your kind of dry, dark fruits and berries. But I love, Andy, I love it when people say it's a nice balanced whiskey. I know balanced and smooth is a kind of are overused words, but for a 5-year-old spirit, I think when you give this to people blind, they tend to think it's a lot older, which I think's a good compliment.
There's an element of liveliness, but it just doesn't drink like a 5-year-old whiskey for me. If you gave that to me blind, there's no way I'd say that's a 5-year-old whiskey. What are your kind of like approaches to like the peating levels? You said with, what is it, 40 ppm? What does that really mean for anyone who doesn't know about peating levels? Like, does it really mean that much that it's 40? Because It could be the same
Yes,
as like
so
Lafroy
it doesn't.
or Ardbeg or whatever, but it doesn't have that same. You just it doesn't. For some people, it might not even add up. But so
No, yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. And there's two ways to measure peat. One is by the phenol content, or the actual chemical content in the whiskey, which is measured at the point of malting rather than at the point of bottling. So, no, your Taliskers, for example, I think are between 10 and 15. Highland Park's about the same. We're up at 40, 45 here. But the other thing is where your peat's from. No, the peat in Orkney that goes into Highland Park is very different to the peat that goes into Lafroy. And even on Islay, actually, the peat that goes into Lafroy comes from right next to the coast. So that's why you get that maritime, saline, kind of medicinal taste. Whereas a mile down the road at Lagavulin, they tend to select their peat from the highest point in Islay, where the peat's bark and mosses and heathers and things. We get our peat from Port Ellen Malton, so a small amount of that might be from Islay, but the majority of it, to be honest, comes from the mainland. And that's largely because there's not enough barley on Islay to feed the current 10 working distilleries, soon to be 11 and then soon to be 12. So for me, we're talking about transparency earlier. I would like the rules to change actually about peat, to talk about what the peat levels are in the glass nor in the bottle. I think that would be far more transparent. I'd love the Scotch Whisky Association to do that. That's not our company policy. That's just me as a whisky fan. And again, I think sometimes it'd be great if people know where their peat's from. No, is it from Orkney? Is it from the Highlands? Is it from Speyside or Aberdeenshire or whatever else? Because geography and peat makes a difference.
Yeah,
totally. And the amount of reflux and the shape of your still and how you're operating it, and maybe the length of your line arm. You've got quite the longest line arms in the world, or something.
So Jake, you're absolutely right. And going back to that conversation over a coffee with Jim McEwen about building the distillery with flavour in mind, all the engineering was with that in mind, and then obviously all the production processes as well. So the two main engineering parts there are, we've got the longest line arm of any distillery in Scotland, 22 feet or about 7 meters. Goes down the way, and then that feeds into, and forgive me for mixing up my metric and imperial, but that then goes into, for condensing, 77 meters of worm tubs. So the amount of copper contact there is really, really significant. And what that does is that's what generates the enzymes to give us that really, really kind of fruit forward spirit, and hopefully a bit of it contributes to the balance and the mouthfeel as well, ultimately, when the whiskey's matured and ends up in your bottle and in your glass as well. That's not to say that the production processes are not important as well. No, just everything's done. The maturation time's not that slow. It's kind of 4 days, but everything's done really slow in terms of changing the temperature of things and warming things up and cooling things down. And we've got a crystal clear wort. All these things absolutely contribute to that balance that Andy spoke about, and definitely for me it contributes to the mouthfeel that you get in the whiskey and how it stays in your palate for quite a long period of time. 50% helps with that as well.
For sure. What was the choice of using worm tub condensers as well?
I think that was a flavour decision first and foremost. From a marketing point of view, we're the only distillery in Islay that uses worm tubs, so that kind of added into the narrative, but the flavour came first before the narrative. I was really pleased actually. In fact, my very first job I did for Hunter Lane was at the Midlands Whisky Festival a few years ago, which actually takes place this weekend. And this guy came up to me on the first day and said to me, "Do you have any whiskies here from worm tub distilleries?" And I looked round about and I thought, well, funnily enough, I do. I've got some Craigellachie here, and I've got this and that. And I says, well, I've tried that. And he moved on. And I thought, how strange is that? No, just coming up and asking about worm tub distilleries. But I got back to my hotel at night and I thought, that's not strange at all. That's just like coming to a whiskey festival and saying, I want to try sherried whiskies or bourbon whiskies, or I want to stick to non-peated whiskies today because I'm going to do peated whiskies tomorrow. He was just a bit more niche, but he was going for that flavour and the mouthfeel. I think worm tubs give you a very, very specific, maybe not specific, but a greater mouthfeel than maybe if you don't have them. In a general sense, everything you say about whiskies obviously get exceptions to the rule.
Absolutely. I mean, I absolutely love this, to be honest with you. It's really wonderful. It's one of the. It's just this like kind of that. They said I think it's the sherry castle. I actually haven't tried the bourbon one, the previous one that you did. Did you have that on pour and sip when I was away?
Yes, it was in January, but it might have been Jess and I. Yeah.
Yeah, so when I was away, and yeah, it was just. I'd be interested to try that one and comparatively.
Oh, we'll need to send you a sample down. But the reason it's non-age statement, just so everyone's clear, this is now core products. So the next time we bring out Bholsa, probably going to be in 2026. By which time the distillery will be 7 years old. So the next time we bottle that, I think it'll be mostly 6-year-old spirit. Might be some younger, maybe some 7 in it. Eventually, I think we'll get to a stage where we'll settle on an age statement, and the same will apply to the Infinite Lock as well. We'll bring a new version of that out in 2026 as well.
That'll be super exciting. Is there anything else that's going to be released anytime soon that's coming up in the pipeline for Ardnahoe?
Yes. So probably next month. You know how timescales are never exact with releasing whiskies. So our third core release will be our first cask strength release. That's not quite strictly 2. We've done festival bottlings that have been 3 or small batches. No, that was 4 bottles for the 4 casks rather for the festival release this year. But we're going to bring out our first cask strength core release. I think this one's coming in bang on 60%. Again, it won't have an age statement on it, but I think there's going to be some 5 and 6-year-old whiskey in this one. And we're hoping for the early part of October for that. But don't hold me to it.
Right, everyone's just saying there, like,
the autumn. We'll bring it out in the
October.
autumn.
Everyone's already waiting for it now, so they're all holding you to that one. Have you got many comments coming in for tasting notes on this one? Have we even done tasting notes on this one? We're just chatting away. Have we done?
No, I know. Yeah, I was going to say that. It's again not having them all like right in front of me on different screens. Having to change tabs is a lot of admin. No, I'm joking, but it's let's go through some. Jeffster is saying he will be on Islay next month, and last time he was at the distillery, it was producing, but there was nothing of age, so he's looking forward to doing a tasting there. I'm not in Islay next month, sadly, but I'm in the same boat in terms of my visiting Ardnahoe. We have Steve Coleman Williams, who was initially getting barbecue toffee apples. Barry Morgan saying, "Oh, nice, maybe for fireworks night." Banging, good, very good. Peter Gilmore saying, "He's getting the peat smoke first." But I think, he was getting peat smoke and bonfire only initially. I think that's quite often the case with peated whiskies. That sometimes the peat will hit you first, and then it takes just a moment for the rest of it to sort of open up, or for you to start getting beyond the peat. So hopefully, that was a few minutes ago, so hopefully you're getting there. We've got smoked meat, nuts, and oranges from Malcolm Tucker. Peat comes through nicely with some dried fruits, peppery plums, peppery plum chutney. That's real boinga. Peppery plum chutney on a barbecue. That's a good note.
Wow.
Steve Coleman Williams was on the cusp of saying Jaffa cake, but I don't think there's a dark chocolate one. To which Malcolm Tucker says they do make dark chocolate Jaffa cakes, and now people are finding out dark chocolate Jaffa cakes exist and getting very excited, as well they should. We have Jeffster saying certainly one to introduce a new Islay drinker to. Yeah, I think that's kind of partly what we were saying earlier, wasn't it? Yeah, it's. I think that goes for the distillery as a whole, but certainly for this dram, it's good. We're still talking about dark chocolate Jaffa cakes. We've got more walnuts and orange and touch of smoke. Raisins, dark fruits, wood spices with a whisper barbecue smoke. Yeah, nice.
A lot of good tasting notes coming through there.
Yeah. Preference palate wise, just like personally, or where you think this is better on the sherry forward or the bourbon forward?
Oh, yeah. My favourite child. So
mine changes with time. Like I used to have this real sherry thing, and now I'm much more inclined to drink. Not that this is bad. I really enjoy this, but like my palate at the moment is much more heading towards bourbon cask.
I'm the same as you. When having tasted the new make spirit from Ardnahoe and the first first week it was run, and then tasted it after a year and 2 and 3 and 4, and we didn't bottle till the distillery had turned 5 years old. I was absolutely convinced that the spirit shines best in bourbon. Whereas now we brought out a society bottle last year that was half PX quarter cask and half Oloroso quarter cask at cask strength, and it's just banging. It's absolutely banging. And I took a warehouse sample of Madeira matured Ardnahoe to a festival last month in Edinburgh, and nobody had tried it. We just said let's take a bottle and see what it's like, and it was incredible. So I think it's one of those. Ardnahoe's, like I always say, Ardna's a very versatile whiskey. It can be peated, unpeated. You can put it in Sauternes, Amarone, rum, Madeira, all sorts of different things, and it just works. And I'm hoping that Ardnahoe's a bit like that as well. It's got that versatility, that it will work in lots of different casks. But I'm like you. I've went kind of all circling. I was down in Campbelltown a couple of days ago having a dram with Ian McAllister there, and I'm falling into his camp. First fill and refill bourbon. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you about this. I've really enjoyed that. I'll be trying the Infinite Lock as well and seeing where that sits, but look forward to trying more of that because that was wonderful. So thank you very much for joining us, Paul. We hope you stick around to the end.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for the invite. Hope you enjoyed it.
You're very sure we absolutely all did. So thank you very much. Let me just and we will hopefully see you at the end. Cheers, Paul.
Good.
Thank you very much. Yeah. We've got Dave in the green room saying he liked the sweet fruity ashiness of this bonfire night drams.
Really
for sure.
ashy. It's really ashy.
Yeah.
It feels like those last embers of ash on a cigar or something, on the bonfire or something like that. It's just really ashy and wonderful, but also with this plum note that just kind of balances it out really nicely.
Dave's saying this would go nicely with blue cheese as well, which I think is
not part of my current diet plan. I have to be honest. Blue cheese, my only current excess calories.
Well, not mine. I'm vegan these days, but I can see it. Like it sounds good.
I save my excess calories for whiskey at the moment. But anyway, so I really enjoyed that. I've got to say those are two of the best whiskies I've tried back to back recently in Bholsa. Recently, I have to say. So. Good choices, everybody. And also, Malcolm Tucker is impressed by the selection of whiskies behind Paul.
Yeah, we did actually talk. We talked about it a little bit before we went live.
Well, that's fine. I mean, I've only been sitting here with loads of whiskey behind me for years and years and years, and no one's ever said anything. But okay,
whatever. Your selection's fine, Andy.
Whatever, Malcolm Tucker is fine. It's just because Paul's is closer. That's the reason. That's the reason it's closer. Anyway. I think we should probably invite Dave back up now because if anyone wants to get to bed before 11 o'clock, talking of all things rye with Dave, we probably need to invite him on now. So let's get Dave on.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still looking through some of his comments. Graham Scott's saying he had some water to that last dram and the dark fruits were replaced by chocolate, which is a very interesting shift. But yeah, I can kind of see that. And it doesn't sound bad. I mean, yeah. We haven't spoken about water today, but that was a 50% dram. You can add a bit of water, but remember you can always have more water. You can't take it out, as we always say. So
yeah.
Hey, Dave.
Hello. Here he is.
Good evening. Haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, Dave and I end up on quite a lot of video calls and things. So it's wouldn't be a complete week without seeing a bit of Dave Worthington. Mind you, it's becoming like that on Pour and Sip. Is this 3 in a row?
This is 3 in a row. I'm pretty certain it's 3 in a row. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I standing for Talisker last time, didn't I? Yeah.
Yeah, you came and chatted Talisker with us, and then you did the new Master of Malt bottlings before that, and today you're here in your more established boutique capacity.
Right. Well, happy birthday, Pour and Sip. Fine.
Yeah, thank you.
Old. Boutique Whiskies bottling, first bottling was 13 years ago tomorrow. So we're celebrating our 13th birthday tomorrow at Boutique Whisky, yes. Yeah.
Gosh, I remember that being launched at Malt Stock that year. I've got screaming kids behind me, but
is that you? Screaming kids. What are they still doing awake? It's 8:30. Get them to sleep. God's sake.
Yeah, 13 years of boutique whiskey. I did make a note of what boutiques we've had in Pour and Sip, actually, Dave.
Well,
So we had a Cameron Bridge 27-year-old in one of the
I remember that.
first few months, which was pretty cool. With Irish 15-year-old in 2021. And then I think I remember you coming on for the next two. The Terrampelli, I'm probably saying that wrong. Is that right?
I remember that.
Oh, the Terrampelli, yeah.
One,
the 5-year-old, that was a banger.
That was very, very good, yeah.
We had the 4-year-old Millstone.
The 4-year-old rye from Millstone, that was a banging. Or was it the heavily peated malt?
Oh, it might have been the heavily peated one. Someone will remember in the comments in a minute, probably. But that was a couple of years back. So, yeah, it's nice to have you here in a boutique capacity, Dave.
Well, we haven't done an awful lot recently, apart from, expanding the core range a little bit.
Well, we did have the Islay core, actually, last year, yes. But in terms of the sort of the classic limited edition releases, we're going back a couple of years.
We're working on a release right now. We're working on another little limited release of 5 bottlings at the moment, which our artist Emily Chappell is busy working on, and she's reimagining some amazing labels. Yeah,
I've got to say, I think Boutique and Compass Box could have a label off kind of fight for like the kinds of most cool labels going. To be honest with you, so you could have.
I think it's certainly a lot of influence taken from what Compass Box were doing and what they had done when Boutique was being created.
I think so. Yeah, it does have that sort of similarities. We're going back a few years now, but yeah, say 13 years when we first released our first 4.
Yeah.
And Emily's done every one, and she's still with us, even with the core range, with doing the silly deer and the silly moose and the silly longhorn cattle, and yeah, we have been reimagining the original 50 CL labels, which tells the story, into the new 70 CL labels. But what we've got tonight is a rye whiskey, and this was from, and we started doing collections. We started up until 2020. We were just releasing as and when, with no real clear pattern, with no grouping or anything. And we had a brand manager for getting us all under wraps, basically, because we were just firing off from the hips. And started bringing these whiskies together as small collections, and this grew. I mean, just have a look at the website, Boutique website, and look at the series seller, I think we called it. We started putting little collections together, and then we started going a little bit off piste, because once upon a time, most whiskey labels were pretty dull, apart from Compass Box and Boutique Whisky. They were all pretty boring, and then all of a sudden, a few years ago, other people started doing these colourful. I mean, even the Diageo special releases labels started looking a little bit boutique-ish with their animals on there and bright colours.
Game of Thrones. Well. It all happens.
So we thought we'd take it up a notch or two and have a label theme as well. So we did the movie theme, we did the record theme, where we had all the different music labels. So we took a sort of a sidestep, because normally every distillery has its own label, and there are over 220 unique labels. So the Kalila label, the Daluan label should always be the same, with just slight changes between batches. But we had this collection of 8 American whiskies at the time, 9 American whiskies at the time, and we needed a theme for it. And we ended up, I think, with vintage baseball cards, and that was our theme for this series. So all of our labels feature, they all look a little like a vintage baseball card. Lots of geeky stuff on it. And here we have the distiller here, the Herman Mihalik, who's on here, Dad's Hat Rye. And
in his dad's hat.
In Dave's hat, I think he's got on there, actually. Is it in his dad's hat? Yeah, he's definitely in his dad's hat there. So yeah, we had a baseball card series, and he's there as his picture. So we've got a little P on the side there on the baseball card. Lots of geeky things on the labels, but Dad's Hat Rye, how did we get hold of it? Because you can't find it over here. They don't have it over here. How did I know about it? Well, I had a friend who has family in Pennsylvania, and he'd go over there regularly, and he'd been in touch with this little distillery. He's a whiskey geek, and he would come back with cask samples, and he introduced me to the distiller. He's bought a few casks actually himself for significant family events like children being born, and every time I love rye whiskey. I absolutely love rye whiskey. I fell in love with rye whiskey a long time ago, 14 years ago, from a Dutch rye distiller. But these were making something really interesting. If you understand or you read into the history of rye whiskey, what they're trying to do here is they're attempting to revive the reputation of Pennsylvania rye, which was the spirit of America pre-prohibition. Pennsylvania, there were like 4,000 distilleries in Pittsburgh in the 1700s, like in Pennsylvania, with the center being around Pittsburgh. And it was known as Old Monongahela rye as a mark of quality, and you can even read about. It's even mentioned in the book Moby Dick, and they were aging it then. It was barrel aged back then as well, because it said the blood ran as red as Old Monongahela, and that was a mark of quality.
Amazing.
So this is a small distillery, a rye whiskey, and they're trying to revive that reputation because Prohibition really killed all of the rye distilling, because all of the rye distillers were small family affairs pre-Prohibition, whereas Prohibition, they granted, we talked about this many times, Prohibition, they granted just 10 licenses and only 6 distilling licenses were taken up. So all of these little farms across New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland, where the sort of the hotbed of rye making was in America, sold their stills, scraps copper, and some went to Canada, and so it never really came back. This is a small batch distillery. Focus on quality and flavor. This one is a 6-year-old. It was a 6-year-old. It's empty now. I've just emptied it. There was only a little bit left in my bottle, but I have got the dram. But I just love the labels. I couldn't throw it away because I want to try and get this label off and get it into a scrapbook. If you're a card collector, it's even geekier because it's got this little validation sticker across the top. These were all single casks. The whole of the series, from ryes and bourbons, were all bottled at cask strength. So it's a 6-year-old. It says 289 bottles on the label, so that's all there were. It does feature the founder and distiller Herman Mahalik wearing his dad's hat. It's a Stetson fedora that was handcrafted in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The distillery was founded in 2011, and it creates that old school Pennsylvania rye. So there's no corn in it. It's 80% rye grain and 20% malt. So
which is worth noting, right? Yeah. Sorry, I'll let you get into the full details, but yeah, like a rye only has to be 51% rye to be called a rye.
Yes.
And usually has like a large corn element, but there's no corn in this whatsoever.
No. Now, if we look at old school rye, corn didn't grow in Pennsylvania or in Virginia, and rye didn't grow in Virginia and Kentucky because of the damp conditions. And we can talk about rye and how complex it is in a minute, but I'll talk about the distillery first and what they've been doing. So they use no corn. Most of it is unmalted grains, but they do 20% malted grains. 15% will be barley malt and 5% will be rye malt. No corn, and it's a sweet mash recipe.
Which is also important, yeah.
And that's how it was. It was, if we talk about Pennsylvania, there were 2 styles of old rye. Was Maryland, which was generally sweetened with fruit as well, and Pennsylvania Monongahela rye was just a rye and barley malt.
Can you sort of very briefly sort of explain what the the sweet mash means. So people have probably heard of sour mash, but they might not know what either means
I
exactly.
think the sweet mash is just the standard mash. It's a new mash every time. There's no back set put into it, which is what a sour mash is. Most people don't know what a sour mash is. They see it on labels but don't really understand what a sour mash is. It is dregs out of the wash still effectively that's put into like a slightly acidic compound, which keeps the wash not sterile. The bacteria don't like this acidic to it, but the yeast doesn't like it either, but it tolerates it. But it's about keeping the bacteria out with a sour mash. All Scotch whisky is a sweet mash effectively. It's a new mash every time. And this is, based on the sweet mash. The sour mash came in, quite well, it was in the 16th. Dr. Crow, didn't he? Perfected it really from rum with the dunder and the back set from the dunder. I use a back set in my baking. I always use rye in my bread making. I have a sort of a sour mash rather than a sourdough because I use a little bit from the previous batch every time. So what do? Local grains, temperature controlled fermenters, doing a 5 to 7 day low and slow ferments to develop that complex flavor. And rye as a grain is complex in itself. It really is. It's akin to corn and barley, but it has many unique traits that separate it from other species. And it was the Europeans that took rye to America. I'm sure we talked about this when I've been talking about maybe Kiro, for example. Mm-hmm. The rye belt stems from the Black Sea up until sort of mainland Europe. It really never came across the ocean to us. We had a little bit of rye here, but it's concentrated in Poland, Germany, the Scandinavian countries. Rye bread, Scandinavian rye bread. It's a grain that grows in very poor soils. It doesn't need cultivated soils like barley does. Its winter hardiness, its tolerance and ability to thrive in colder and harsher climates, which made it suitable for this new world. However, it's its unique chemical makeup that really differentiates it in terms of processing requirements and, more importantly, flavor, because you get such complex flavor development from a rye than you do with malted barley. I love good single malts. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore single malts, but they're simple in terms of the grain. The rye kernel are high in levels of structural cell wall compounds called beta glucans and arabinoxylins.
You're still following along at home? Let us know.
These compounds increase the viscosity of the mash, and everyone talks about how difficult it is to work with rye. It becomes a glue. However, when these compounds start to degrade, they have a significant role in that warm, spice-filled bouquet of aromas. This baking spice, and they cross-link with lignum in the grain, and these largely responsible for the rigidity and structure, but also they start to break down in these hydroxycinnamic acids, HCAs, that form these cross linkages, and that's the cinnamon, clove, anise that you get those baking spices.
You paying attention, Andy? There's a test at the end.
Yeah. What my take on everything is mostly that that absolutely rocks.
Yeah, right.
That's my main takeaway is I just one nose at that. I'm like, I love this. And I've got to say, man, it's just that is right up my street. So
yeah, all three of us love rye, and we love a bit of rye on pour and sip. But I think in the last few months, we've had a lot of sort of malted rye, Kiro. We had the Stowning Hurst, which is single malt and rye. But I don't think we've actually had an American rye for around a year at least, and that was a Tennessee.
What was that?
It was the Jimmy Rack.
Jimmy Rack. I really liked that.
I think maybe
that was the dad. What's his name? So the hat. The Tennessee whiskey one as well. What's his name?
Daddy Rack.
Daddy Rack. Is it the same guy?
Oh, now you're asking.
I think it's the same guy.
Must be right.
I could be completely wrong.
I'm having a moment.
Basically, we're all having a moment. Just a bit like I remember really liking Daddy Rack, and then I remember really liking the other one. Dave, you cannot get Dad's Hat here in the UK.
I'm afraid you can't. They haven't got a distributor over here. I'd love it. This is just a single cask. You can't find it here. It's just like a lot of the great ryes.
Yeah.
They're only, they're small concerns, and we're not their number one market. I'm sure they'd love to be, but sometimes they are small concerns and just spreading too far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I do believe that some of the best rye whiskey is made in Europe, but there are some great distilleries in America. People like Dad's Hat, people like Distillery 291. What's the other little place that I went to that's in New York State? Some of the Empire ryes have been absolutely banging. Really great stuff, but you don't see them outside of New York State.
I mean, I've just had a sip, and it's extraordinary stuff. I mean, it's 64%, as we said at the beginning. So, but as Paul, the previous guest, just said in our little comments here, you get the strength on the nose, but you would never guess that was 64% on the palate. But it's full of flavour.
It's so full of flavour, yeah. It's so oily as well in the glass. It's so oily.
It's just like this, like the nose as well has this like really amazing rye bread note that like is just so bready.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I want from a rye whiskey a lot of the time. And I get that in Kiro in a very different style. But this, for an American, I'm actually getting that rye bread note.
What are they making of it in the comments, Andy? Are you following
they like it. Apparently, the last US rye we had was I think he means Michter's.
We did have a Michter's, but again, that's going back some. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's going back some. Very nice. We're back to so Jeff's saying crikey, and it should be noted.
Crikey, yeah.
It should be noted. Firstly, most importantly, Malcolm Tucker has overtaken Steve Coleman Williams in the XP charts and is currently leading as number one. So Steve Coleman Williams, you really need to start commenting more. So Jeff says, crikey, this could replace Vicks Sinex as a sinus clearer. Cracking effect on my nose. Very treacle and toffee now I can nose it. The colour is like Lyle's golden syrup. Steve Coleman is based on the nose. This whiskey needs after eights. Subtle and minty. I have to say, subtle was not the one.
Minty, yeah.
I was thinking minty, yeah. This is like I don't know. It's just an absolute very big hitter. Real bonga. I'm tasting syrupy dried fruits, meadow flower honey, cinnamon, berries, and cherries. A few drops of water does open it all up a bit. Malcolm Tucker, nose on Daddy's Hat has initially got Pacer sweets. Do you know what this is, Dave? Pacer sweets.
Are they those minty chews? I'm not quite sure. Are they like a chew it but with a minty?
Ooh, I don't know. Pacer sweets.
Yeah, like old British minty sweet. Yeah. So I know exactly what they're getting at with the mint though. Yeah.
Wood and stewed apples, let it breathe. Get plenty of red fruit, touch of chocolate, Peter Gilmore to the nose, all spice and mint, and palate is fruity and spicy oak. And just to say, considering I'm not a rye fan, loving the taste of this. It still has that rye aftertaste for me. But if you say have been a sherry cask, I believe you, has that dark sherry element.
It really is, and fruity notes. And yeah, I mean, I'm assuming this is just fresh oak.
Yeah, this is just new
American oak. Yeah.
American oak, charred as per the rules. Yeah, so they just have one traditional 500-gallon pot still, and then they've got a more modern side column. So these are all of their straight whiskies are aged in new charred 53-gallon barrels. So standard ASBs.
Yeah. Oh man, this is I'm big fan, Dave. Big fan of this.
When the first sample came to me from when he brought it to the whiskey show, you got to try this. Have you ever heard of them? No, I haven't. Because I've been banging on about Distillery 291 in Colorado, another distillery that you can't find over here, but they just make some amazing stuff. And said, you got to try this if you love rye. And wow, this is good. We need to talk. Yes, they were well up for supplying a cask. They wanted to be involved with boutique whiskey, which was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole set of 9 baseball cards just look fantastic together. You know, each of the distillers, you know, they chose their colours, like their team colours they wanted to be in. They all have something idiosyncratic to them: the hats, the staves, the whiskey thieves, whatever they wanted to be holding, and we just gave them all positions.
So, I love the personal touches, though. Yeah.
Are you adding water to this one for yourself?
I added a drop of water. Yes, I don't think it's necessary, but I did on the first time, and I've got my little jug and teaspoon here.
Yeah, I'm loving drinking it without it. There's this, like, I don't know, it's just the burn of it is.
Yeah,
nice.
I'm not sure how much the drips of water I put in it have taken it down from 64, to be honest.
Yeah. And so Malcolm Tucker's because Malcolm Tucker's saying I added water to this and the nose deadened and mint came to the fore on the palate. Steve Coleman Williams says I get more fruity notes after adding water. Fermented orchard fruits. Sorry, that's a good one. Steve Coleman Williams is also asking, Andy, do I get extra XP for having the database and making it publicly available? Careful while I turn it off. Haha, joke. I have to say, I'm a big fan of this XP thing that I've only just seen. I'm loving that YouTube are gamifying comments. That's absolutely amazing. Big fan of that. And Malcolm Tucker saying it shows how different people's palates are, that they're getting completely different things, which is totally true, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think I've just dug up my notes here while you were talking there. This is from the original notes when I got the sample. So yeah, it's all rye bread and allspice at first on the nose, which is the first thing you get that. And as a baker who uses rye every week in their bread, and then all of a sudden it gets really fruity and dried fruit, cranberries, apricots, and chocolate covered raisins, and then those spices return with a hint of mint and some wood char. That's my nose. Yeah. I thought the palate was really silky, but then, you know, I'm a rye geek.
I think we actually used your notes for the, or very much
on
yours, Dave.
Oh, right. Okay.
Notes.
Well, I can't read them. They're far too small.
They are quite small. It's true.
Yeah, I can't.
There's a lot to fit on there. But
oh, yes, it is. Yes, you're right. Silky, you've shortened mine. I can
just your notes. Yeah.
Man, I think this is the first time, I've got to be honest, that for pouring stuff in a while, I think all 3 whiskies could go into my basket this time.
Yeah, it's not just that they've been enjoyable.
This is right up my street.
You were saying the first 2, were some of the best back-to-back drams you've had in a while.
Absolutely love this.
Completes the set, doesn't it?
Right up my street.
Chocolate mint at the end really comes through, doesn't it?
Yeah, big time. I think someone was saying after 8 mints.
After 8, yeah. I want one now.
Yeah. We could pair that with this. But yeah. So and actually, do you say that the actual grains used are local grains from the distillery?
Yeah, a lot of these smaller craft distilleries up in America are using local farms, you know, just like New York Distilling in New York. I mean, they're local, they're New York State, but New York State's a big old state. You know, it's like I think it's a day's drive there and back sort of thing, New York State, to get their local grains from this. Yeah, but yes, they are local grains.
Do they have different mash bills, Dad's house? Do they work kind of from the same thing?
No, they're working one mash bill. They're working this Pennsylvania, the old style Pennsylvania rye. Yeah.
It's always that. Okay.
Paul in the old green rooms saying, yeah, you definitely got the drams in the correct order, guys. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you would usually finish with the PT one, and you would like usually
common sense kicked in time, so it was fine.
In this case, like I think this would. I mean, maybe if you had like a cask strength Lafroig 10 beforehand, it may have been slightly problematic with the lineup. I think with this one, with the Ardnahoe being much softer, in my opinion, for a PT whiskey, for an Islay whiskey, I think this definitely powers things out of the way.
I think the ABV and gradient has brought us into this quite nicely, to be honest.
Yeah.
I love, like, I'm all for drinking, like, you know, I'm like every day, like, you know, kind of like 10-year-old, like Aaron, like a nice easy sipper, but I'm also big into trying things that knock my socks off. And this is one of those ones that just knocks your socks off. You know what I mean?
We do get comments sometimes about the, obviously, as whiskey geeks, we quite like the single casks and cask strengths and things, and there are some higher strength whiskies, and some people do comment sometimes that the average ABV in these boxes can be, it's quite high some months.
This one says.
But do add water, or this is going to come through wicked in a cocktail.
Steve Howdy Doody saying no water needed for him, this one. And Malcolm Tucker, who's gone down to number 2. I mean, this is like neck and neck.
You're obsessed.
Roller coaster here. Who is going to win? Saying, go on, Andy. What was your favourite? Well, I mean, I can tell you that afterwards, but I have to say, I think this is the hardest box we've had in a long time for me to pick what my favourite one was, because I've actually loved everything we've tried in this one.
Yeah.
I have to say, really different as well. But this is like, so I love this. Really love this. Well done, Dave. Basically, is what I'm saying.
Well, I didn't do anything apart from getting used.
You take the credit.
You got it. I love the look of their bottle, and I really want to challenge on the fact that I can't get hold of one.
Oh, you need someone to get over there to pick it up for you, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll get the boutique one first. That's route number 1 for everybody here. Get the boutique one if you want to try this.
Absolutely.
But yeah, this is wonderful stuff.
I'll get the whole series. All those 9 baseball cards. There's a couple of ryes in this. There's 4 ryes in there. Yeah. There's 2 distillery 291s. There's a few rye and a big.
Do they use corn at 291?
Sorry.
Do they use corn?
No, that's 100. They're both 100% malted rye.
Yeah.
That's full-on geekery. You'd really like that.
Yeah.
100% Colorado rye, and the other's 100% German rye. The breadbasket of Europe is Poland and Germany. Most of the rye is grown in those 2 countries, and most of the American distillers, like the commercial rye distillers, 51% rye, import Polish and German grain because they don't grow rye in Kentucky, because it's too humid.
Yeah.
And so the rye rots.
Incredible. Well, this has been mega. I guess, is there any other boutique news for you to tell us, Dave?
What is there anything? What the boutique? The Irish won a gold medal recently. Irish 21-year-old, the new addition to the core, and so did the 10-year-old bourbon that won a gold medal in the World Whiskies, or the American Whiskies, in the Irish Whiskey Masters. So they both got gold. The new collection we're working on at the moment is 4 Scotch whiskies and a world whiskey. So that's all I can tell you at the moment. But there's some long age statements in some of them. There's some big. I'm really excited about what's coming up. Some new labels coming up that we've reimagined.
Come on, Dave, give us the scoop. No smoke
an
and mirrors.
An old grain from a long closed distillery.
Nice. Yep.
Where Ballantyne's geese used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say Dumbarton? Oh, maybe. How about a very old? I think it's a 26-year-old Glengarry. So that's old school Glengarry. That'd be pretty cool.
Nice.
And I think there's a very old single malt from Ireland, double distilled, Bushmills, coming as well. I think that's in the 20s as well. I might be even a bit older. I'm just trying to look at you. I'm just trying to dig it out. It's a 21-year-old. Emily has just created 2 new labels as we've been speaking. I've just watched her upload it.
Nice.
I can't sneak peek you it, but
share it in. It's not going to be saved on YouTube forever. It's fine.
The Glengarry looks amazing.
We just have to look at your reaction to it.
She's just nailing it every time. And taste it. I'm wearing an Emily t-shirt tonight as well. This is one of her creations.
That's an Emily original, not boutique related, isn't it? It's just
it's actually kind of creeping me out, to be honest. The 3 eyes thing. It's a bit, to be honest with you.
That's a feral fox. Yeah, we've got some really cool. We've just been buying some really cool whiskies as well. Some it's been hard getting whiskies at the moment. It has been difficult for independent bottlers all round. Certainly the good independent bottlers, it's been very hard to be able to put whiskey in a bottle that people will think, well, I could buy that. We just had to turn it away. The price has just been far too high. But I think these ones, I mean, they're not going to be cheap whiskies at 26, 21 and 33-year-old, but I don't think they're going to have your eyes out. And there's some younger ones.
Still the core range, of course, which our pour and sippers have tasted some of.
Yeah, the core range. The most expensive one is the 21-year-old Irish, and that one. But
there's some more affordable choices in there as well.
Yeah,
cool. I'm conscious that we've got a couple more drams to just quickly chat about, Andy.
I forgot about those.
We've got a couple of guests who are patiently waiting as well. And but it's always a pleasure, Dave. It was a pleasure 2 months ago, and last month, and this month.
It's always good to see you guys. Always good to see, and always good to taste some new whiskies. Yeah, I really impressed with the first two as well. The Compass Box I put in my basket.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go revisit. I thought the Ardnahoe was superb as well, and I want some Stilton with it because I think that saltiness, that sort of old Stilton, that would go really well with this ashy fruitiness.
I think you're right. Yeah,
like a chutney.
The blue cheese. Yeah. Okay.
Ashy chutney.
Yeah, into that. All right. Should we do these other two drams, Jake? Yep. Oh, I'm the one with the controls here. Sorry.
You are the one with the controls. Yeah.
I forgot, Jake. 2 seconds. Right. We'll see you in a bit, Dave. Thank you. Right. Okay.
Well, hopefully everyone's enjoying this as much as we are, because we are loving tonight.
Loving tonight. We have had great whiskey tonight. I am into everything we have tried. And it seems like our guests are as well. The pour and sippers are as well. Paul said, great cheese choices, Dave. Asking Dave as well if he's at Birmingham this weekend for the Whiskey Live. So, Jake, what are we doing now?
Well, I can go first. We've got a couple more in the box. Obviously, don't feel you have to drink them on school night, and we're going to go through them very quickly, as ever, these two remaining ones. I feel like also, if you were going to taste them now after like a bit of peat and that huge rye, you're probably not going to give them the due attention they deserve.
Yeah.
But I've got Balblair, which is cool because we haven't had one of those in yonks, I think since 2021, something like that. I did look it up. But it is from Living Souls, who are kind of a new independent bottler. The people behind Living Souls are Callum Leslie, Jamie Williamson, and John Torrance, who have worked for the likes of Loch Lomond Group, Douglas Lang, Diageo, Tullibardine. Between them, just decades of experience. They used to do roles like head of operations or head of innovation, and yeah, they're now got their own indie bottle, and they're doing cool like small batch stuff. This is kind of a reasonably straightforward, like 10-year-old single malt, but they've got some funky stuff. They've set up their own Solera. They've got a blend of Tobermory and Lechig single malts, which is still a single malt because they're both from the same distillery. They've got another thing called 99+1, which is like 18-year-old. I think that's Lechig as well, but it's got like a tiny bit of really young grain in it, and as with 18-year-old Lechig, so it's almost like a teaspooned malt, but I think it's a teaspoon blend, but by accident, I think. It's still delicious. It's just got, you just can't call it an 18-year-old or a single malt because it's got this like thimble probably of something that somebody went, oh, well, I'm not meant to be putting that in there. So yeah, they've got some fun bottlings. But yeah, this is kind of interesting Limousin oak. So it's kind of like XO, ex-cognac kind of casks, which really gives it this kind of interesting oakiness throughout. And yeah, just another completely different whiskey to the ones that we've tasted tonight.
Yeah. I look forward to trying that one. Very much. I love Balblair, to be honest with you, but I think it's actually a really underrated distillery. But yeah, So the one that we're trying afterwards is not such a overlooked distillery, let's say, in Glendronach, kind of a very popular one, and one that we all kind of know about, I think, and kind of, I would say, consistently good and brilliant. But this is the Ode to the Valley, which is part of their new Masters Anthology series, which launched in 2024. And it isn't an old statement of whiskey, but it's the kind of the point of this one, because it's meant to explore those kind of new angles of what Glendronach's sherry kind of soak style can do. But what's interesting here is the mashup of the casks. It's matured in blends of Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso sherry casks, but also ruby port casks from Portugal's Douro Valley. And the port kind of adds a different twist to the Glendronach style. We're giving them more fruit, extra sweetness, and extra winey edge. So you should be getting in the glass lots of red berries, jam, some darker fruits too, and some raw barley sugar in there as well. But it's still very much Glendronach. So for those of you who've tried much Glendronach before, it's kind of...
It really is, isn't it?
Obviously Glendronach, but it's got this extra little something, I would say. So for those of you... That's the elevator. That's exactly it. So kind of when you taste it... Yeah, a little something. You kind of got to think about the port sherry kind of playing off of each other, and how the wine influence kind of shows up. So you got this all kind of character of the malt and that kind of Glendronach style, but then a tiny little bit of that port, which is kind of playing off the sherry. So it's one for those Glendronach fans that want to try something different, but also from those people that are just new to it and also want to try something delicious.
That is rich.
Rich, very desserty. I like anything which has been in port casks, if I'm completely honest with you. So I'm looking forward to trying this one, I have to say. And being a fan of Glendronach, and even their new branding, I have to say, slightly controversial. Some people were not a fan of that new bottle. I quite liked it. But you can all make your own minds up on that one. I think whiskey rebrands are always a little point of controversy. I think they just about managed to get the branding right. Other distilleries have not. Other distilleries have. But yeah, they just about managed to get it right. Interested to know what you guys think of that one. But like I said, this has been a pretty potent first few drams. So should you want to try that in your own leisure, let us know, via Instagram.
Steve's got I was talking about some sets being, higher strength than others. Steve's got the stats, or at least since the database began, which is pretty much since the beginning, that the highest box average ABV in a box has been 52.62. So that was a punchy month, and the lowest was 43.66, which does seem particularly low. But we don't overthink these things. We put together nice selections of whiskies, and maybe I should think about strength more. I don't know, but
Well, I mean, in fairness, it's pretty much okay tonight, hasn't it? What was the 50% for the Ardnahoe, and the Compass box was at 46. I think it was just the 64 the Dad's hat that's kind of bumped that straight up. That kind of average, it's put it straight up. Steve Conn-Williams is really going in here with the kind of seasonal trends and the increasing tendency with notable spikes in December. I think your data might be looking too much into this one, because I don't think that the team have that much kind of a
probably not intentionally, but yeah, just the way that we build,
Well, maybe come to this is from ChatGPT. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
If any of you, I can't remember who was telling me this, if any of you have an Instagram account, you really need to go to ChatGPT, send them your Instagram, and ask it to roast you. It's just one of the funniest experiences you will ever.
I saw that going around a while back.
You'll ever see as a whiskey influencing account. It's great because if you ask it to really roast you, it can make you feel pretty bad. But it's very funny. So I advise anyone with their own little Instagram page to ask ChatGPT to roast your Instagram page. It is very funny. I did this recently on a Torre Vague trip that I was on, and everyone was having a lot of fun with it. So anyway, that's enough for ChatGPT and AI. We are going to invite our guests back on to the screen who've been patiently waiting. Paul, Sam, and Dave. Hello, everybody. How's it going?
Really well.
Quick sip of the last 2 drams. That's a good combination of the 5, I think, guys. Well done.
Yeah. Good. So, okay. Have you tried any, Sam?
Yeah, I tried both. Really, really exciting. I've been following the Ardnahoe stuff since the inaugural, and just huge fan. I love that. I love that sort of like that mix of fruit and like bringing fruit more to the forefront. Really love that. And actually, the rye as well, I thought was sensational. I got like this massive, like, beautiful spiced carrot cake with all the icing and all that on it. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into that. Guys, and firstly, we'll get on to asking questions, but as always on Pour and Sip, we are going to ask you, all our Pour and Sippers, what was your favorite dram of the box this month? And I have to say, this was a hard one. Everyone in the comments has been asking me what my favorite was, which is breaking the rules, because I can't tell you that, to be honest with you. You'll have to pay me, but just let us know what was your favorite from this month's box, and maybe I'll tell you what my favorite was. So for today's question for the guests, I have been asking some mean ones that people have been, oh, bloody hell. So I'll just do that again. So what? No, I'm joking. So I always think it's nice just like this general question. So if you could share your whiskey that you've been making or you've appreciated with someone, celebrity, anyone, living or dead, who would it be? And on top of that,
double question,
bonus one. What's your desert island dram? Right, Dave, I'm going to start with you.
I think you asked me this last week.
I did.
Andy enjoys this far too much.
I love this.
I'm sure. Okay, I'm going to pick someone else this time.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick someone from the music scene, as I listen to music 24/7. And I'd love to have met Frank Zappa. I'm a huge Zappa fan. I did get to see him before he died on the Broadway, the Hardway tour in Brighton a long time ago. That's just the most amazing concert I've ever been to. I mean, I'd love to meet him. He's just such a dude, and I'd love to.
Is there a dram that you would give to him, Dave?
Oh, probably a rye.
You give him that.
Oh, definitely rye whiskey. Oh, I don't know, some of those old school, those whiskies from the 60s and 70s, Scotch whiskies, those old school Glengarries I mentioned before. Those peated, floor malted Glengarries were just different. They were just stunning. Or old Clynelish, from the 70s or something. Even 70s Lefroy had that fruity, tropical note.
Do you know if he liked whiskey, Frank Zappa? Do you know this?
He lived on coffee and cigarettes.
He must have liked whiskey at some point.
Yeah, he lived on black coffee and cigarettes. He didn't do drugs. He wasn't. Everyone thought he did, but he never did drugs. He was he chain smoked cigarettes and he drank coffee. And he was a bit of a hard taskmaster from everybody that's talked about him as
hard to believe he made all that music without drugs, to be honest.
You don't write the Black Page. I don't know how he wrote the Black Page without drugs. That's quite the. Now, I would, on a similar note, I think I would love to share a drink with Tom Waits, because that man just embodies bourbon and rye. About him is man sitting at piano drinking that while singing with a cigarette.
Oh, that's a good choice. Yeah,
I feel like I would love to share a dram with him.
He's got a movie coming out soon.
As in because he's done acting before, but as in his own thing.
No. I think it's a Jim Jarmusch or something. He'll be like as a character.
I was about to say about have you seen the Coffee and Cigarettes, Jim Jarmusch?
Oh yeah, it's unreal.
Tom Waits and Iggy Pop. That's great.
Yeah, it's amazing.
His voice at the moment sounds like he's been gargling broken glass and bourbon for a long time.
I've done for a while. Yeah, there's a song he has called "The Piano's Been Drinking, Not Me." It's one of my favorites. It's just this body's whiskey for me. It's just this idea of him sitting at the piano drinking. But anyway, guys, enough about drunken musicians. That's not what we talk about at Pour and Sip. Sam, what about yourself?
It's funny you said Tom Waits, because I was actually probably going to say someone like Mark Lanigan, but I think because he's dead. But I also kind of get the feeling like he probably wouldn't have been much fun. So I'm going to go with his friend Anthony Bourdain.
Okay, well, I imagine he was very fun. And may he rest in peace. Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain, and probably, I don't know, like we got some amazing parcels of like 2000s Glen Elgin in like rechar and refill, and they're like unreal. Just it's all just pineapple. It's super glossy. It's like, it's really light. It's just all that like esterification in barrel, but like, you know, really not super active casks, and just like decent aging. And it's something like that.
And that's what you share. Okay, I think they would appreciate that had they got the chance. But yeah, good answer. How about yourself, Paul?
Oh, so I'm going way back to the 1700s, and at the risk of sounding like a stereotypical Scot, I'm a big fan of Robert Burns and his life and his work. And I just imagine having a dram with him. It would be great. And a quick story about Robert Burns. He published his first book in Kilmarnock in Ayrshire. And a mile along the road, 20 years later, Johnny Walker opened his first grocery. Burns drank all his life, and Johnny Walker was teetotal. So Kilmarnock got a great kind of history, I think, in terms of Scotland, but of whiskey. And my desert island dram, actually, I've had so many good whiskies in my life, but I always have this thing. I listen to Desert Island this every weekend, and everybody imagines that your desert island is going to be this hot tropical thing. And I've just got a sneaky suspicion I'm going to end up in some freezing cold, horrible place. So the whiskey I would pick is one that's really versatile, that I love in the winter, but I love in a really hot climate as well, and it's really accessible, is Lefroy Quarter Cask.
Oh yeah, that's a great choice.
I've got great memories of sitting in the fireside in the winter, and I've got great memories having a bottle in the Canary Islands, and at the risk of sounding sexist, my wife's taking far longer to get ready than I am, and while she's taking longer, I'm sitting with 3 or 4 drams of Lefroy Quarter Cask as the sun's going down, so it works in the heat as well.
Yeah, that's a great dram. Do they still do quarter cask?
Yeah, they still do it. Yeah. No, it's still do it.
Okay, it's a great dram, that one. What about you, Jake? Looking all smug. What about you?
Sorry, I was reading comments, but also enjoying that. And I didn't think you were going to pick on me, so I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I'm like, so my firstborn, going back to like the Jim Jarmusch, Tom Waits, Iggy Pop. I mean, my firstborn's called Iggy. So like,
cool.
Iggy Pop would probably be my answer if I was just trying to be honest rather than like super clever. And yeah, Desert Island Drams, goodness me. Like, I mean, you all must get asked this question by so many people, like friends and family, and I should really have like a off the cuff like answer. But I think there's a couple of things like. There's lots of like coastal whiskies, like not necessarily like peaty, but like ones with like a line of salinity through them are ones that I absolutely love.
Springbank.
Other sort of like thing I really love is Irish single pot still, and so like an old Middleton or like a Redbreast would be my like. It doesn't. Your Desert Island one should be like the one that you most couldn't do without, maybe. So like maybe that would be even like just like the Redbreast 12, or like nothing like super fancy, really solid, and like I've got to have a bottle of that on the shelf somewhere.
There'll be nothing up with any of the 5 tonight, I'll tell you.
I was about to say, I'll take them all on the Desert Island. No problem for me. Okay, cool. Thank you for that, guys. There's some pretty good answers there. I have to say. It's nice to know.
Shall I run through some of these comments?
Let's see who the winner is tonight.
For the people who've been brave enough to go, yes, this is mine. Okay.
Bloody hell! So Jeffster at the last minute here has just taken the top spot. How does that even work?
It's funny. I'm not even like seeing the little, like I can see them, but I'm not like. I'm
sort
of looking past them. Whereas you're like, this is your.
As
well as the whiskey, the thing you're most excited about tonight is these little like number one.
I love it. Like, out of nowhere, there, Real Boinga right at the end. It's just nailed it, and he's just got himself number one. So, Real Boinga wins. I love this. I think it's great. Well done, YouTube. Anyway, carry on.
I'm just trying to read Stevie Howdy Doody's comment because I think he might be going for the Balblair there. Okay. Pexman's got the dad's hat by a whisker from Ardnahoe, and just a further whisker from the Nectarosity, but also saying they tried the Balblair quickly, and that seemed great, fantastic box. Jeff's got the dad's hat by a whisker as well, but he's also saying he met an ex-policeman working at Wolfburn, so perhaps this is a natural progression after retiring.
Yeah, Mark's ex-police, isn't he?
Yeah, Mark Westy.
Yep. Simon's going for Ardnahoe tonight. Real Boinga, can't make up my mind. They're all good. They've also got the blocked up nose, haven't they? So they're struggling slightly. Joe P, all three excellent, but I may have accidentally bought the Ardnahoe already. Steve Colin Williams loving the Ardnahoe too. He says, although there is a clear winner on the database, but which one is it, Steve? We've got Dave Wilcock enjoying Ardnahoe with Dad's hat, a worthy mention, but a cracking box. I have a suspicion that my love of peat might prefer the Ardnahoe. That's Real Boinga again. I really enjoyed this month's box. My favourite was the Dad's hat. Already own the Ardnahoe Bholsa and may buy the Compass box too. So there we go. Pexman saying he loves the Bovril t-shirt. We've got shout out for Glendronach from Dave. Just pointing out that's also lovely. We have got we were talking about Lefroy quarter cask there, weren't we? Ardnahoe with Graham Scott. Love for Ardnahoe. And then we have getting towards the end. Back to one. Yes, so honestly, these number one comment things have become a distraction, Andy.
Yeah, Steve Coleman Williams has written like 6 times there just to get himself back to number one. In fairness, it's a great idea. So
Pexman saying, great box, great guests. Thank you all. Absolutely. I mean, I am probably going to pick up a bottle of that Nectarosity for myself in a minute. And there's obviously a lot of love for the Ardnahoe, a lot of love for the Dad's hat. And yeah, as ever, like you were saying about the 2 Ardnahoes earlier, different people liking different things, which we love to see. But I think we've done all right for our 5th birthday, Andy.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think as 5th birthdays go, that was a pretty good one. I think that was my favourite box I've had in a long time. I'm not saying that any of the boxes have been bad. They're never bad, by the way. They're never bad. I think the quality on this one's been right up my street. So thank you very much to all our guests for tonight. It's been absolutely wonderful trying all this great whiskey. And to everyone else, we'll see you back in October.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. We'll still
try not to be there.
Yeah, but someone might drop out last minute, Dave, and you'll have to cover for them, and you'll be talking about, I don't know.
Like Jake knows he can call me anytime, and I'll be there.
Yeah. It's
talk about anything.
If whiskey's involved, Dave's going to be there. Let's be completely honest about this. It's like a bat signal with whiskey Glen in the sky, and Dave just suddenly appears
up in the sky
talking about whiskey. So Real Boinga saying, let's just say 5th birthdays generally have less whiskey. That's true. And a good box for this month, and great guests, thoroughly knowledgeable, saying Steve Howdy Doody. And everyone saying thanks for a great evening, another great evening, and can we have a Dave only box 1 month after? Yeah. We could have a line up of boutique whiskies, in fairness. and just run that. But then I suppose those drinks by dram. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody. We will see you back in October, and cheers. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you. See you later.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.